We earned it. We earned our outlook, and I will not apologize for how happy I am.
Oh my goodness. I totally feel you. Sometimes I feel that way too. I'm like, am I the toxic positivity person? Am I making people's lives more miserable because I am so positive? Like, people are like, Lucy, your life is so good. You're always so happy. Well, again, like what you said, I did the work.
I'm Elysia Skye, and this is the Brilliance Method podcast. Through mindful, motivational, and often hilarious conversations with thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and executives, you'll discover new ways to create your life on purpose.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Brilliance Method. Today, we are hanging out with the amazing Lucy Liu. She is a master life coach helping women up-level in business and life to confidently live an epic life. She is an unshakable optimist, wife, mom, entrepreneur, workshop facilitator, motivational speaker, best-selling author, and how I found her, the podcast host of the Lucy Liu Show. What a rock star. Welcome to the party, darling.
Thank you so much for having me. And to all the beautiful souls tuning in, you are amazing for being here.
Yes, absolutely. So, Lucy, you kind of do it all. And I think that's one of the reasons why your show is popular, because people really look up to you. And wow, like it's a lot to be a podcast host, but then also a workshop facilitator and a coach and a mom. And it's something people ask me a lot, like how do you do it all? One of the things that comes up a lot on your show is, the idea around burnout prevention. So I know this is really near and dear to your heart. So in regards to how do you do it all, how do you also not fry out?
Totally. That was like a loaded question, like 5 questions in one. But I
Yep,
love
go
it
for it, girl. The
because
mic is yours.
we all get there. We all get to burnout. We've all been through stress. So I personally transformed my own life from once upon a time feeling super stressed, unhealthy, unhappy, to eventually going through personal development, to getting to where I am today, joy, confidence, full alignment, to just enjoying what I do in life, here providing value to anyone the universe sends to me my way. But that all happened in small steps. And I think coming back to your question, how do you have it all? I'm a big believer that yes, you can have it all, but just not at the same time. We are a podcaster, but we did not, do all of that at the same time. Well, I first launched my coaching business, and then I started my podcast. And then I co-authored in 2 books that gave me the confidence to write my own book, and that continued my path on to sharing my stories and leading my way for other women. So yes, you can have it all, but not at the same time. And I think that clarity is really essential because so many women, we want it all. And then we go into the spiral of, I want this, I want that, I want ABCD, the whole alphabet. And we're looking at Z as in zebra. And like, that's so daunting. But instead, we just want to come back to really just going from point A to point B, and then looking from point B to C, and just taking baby steps to get there, one step at a time. And really, most importantly as well, to enjoy every step of the way.
Well, in going from, step A, step B, step C, like that's a beautiful formula to avoid burning out. And I imagine you had some hardships and some failures in order to understand that's the path you needed to take. And we learn so much from failure, and like you keep it so real. So I just want our audience to really understand what it took for you to learn that lesson, maybe the hard way.
Oh, yeah. We all go through life, basically. As long as we're breathing, as long as we're human, we're going to get hit with curveballs, right? Like we get these curveballs thrown at us. But how do you react to that? I always like to say, you know how the saying goes that life throws you lemons, but what are you going to do with those lemons? And I've heard of the version, make lemonade, right? That's one. I've heard of the version where you say, You make other fruity juice, right? Make it more colorful and interesting. Make it a fruit juice. Add some more other types of fruits. And another version I've heard is called let's make grape juice and let everyone wonder how the hell did you do that? So you see, we all get thrown with lemons, but there's different choices you can make after you get those sour lemons, right? And that is your decision. And life is made up full of these tiny little decisions that's going to determine your life, because your reaction to the same exact situation. And I call them circumstances because circumstances are facts. What happens to you in life, what type of lemons get thrown at you, these are facts. It happened, yes, but they are actually neutral. And what you think about the situation, how you react to it, the types of actions you take after the situation, that determines how the outcome is. And that could be either neutral, positive, or negative. And again, you get to make that decision. And now I speak on confidence. I talk about confidence is because I choose to be a confident person. I choose to be an optimist in life. I choose to be positive. And that doesn't mean I don't have my bad days and lazy days. And right, there are times I am in, maybe less of an ideal day, but I know for a fact that's temporary because I have chosen to be a more positive person. I've chosen to be the confident person. So whatever happens in life, I know that's temporary. Everything in life is temporary and I can change that. And I can pick myself back up in the most expedited way. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And some people can hear information like that and start to try it on little bits at a time. Are you open to sharing a moment in your life? You don't have to share all the details, but like a moment in your life or a tipping point, right? Like your tipping point is when you're like, I've had enough, because someone watching or listening might be in that same tipping point right now, and you're going to give them permission to make a choice to be confident or to choose happiness or to choose something different.
Oh, I love this question so much because I get asked all the time, Lucy, like, what was your aha moment? I think looking and waiting for that aha moment in the beginning of my journey actually hindered my growth, because we're waiting for that turning point in life. We're waiting for that, catastrophic event or turning point in life that truly changes the trajectory of our whole entire story. And I think, unfortunately for many, something happens to them, like either affair or breakup or betrayal or some type of health condition or something unfortunate that they are forced. Like we hear so many stories, they are forced to change their life and make a different decision about how they're going to live their life moving forward. And for me, it wasn't that way, actually. It was actually the small aha moments. Like now that I'm on the other side, I can say, oh, in hindsight, this is what I did. This is what I did. All these stories added up. And I actually have my book, which is called Confident and Epic. And it's 21 chapters, 21 decisions to living your best life. And it talks about 21 of my life stories, the decisions I made to change my life to a better one. But it was really these tiny, small aha moments that in the moment, I didn't even realize that was like something until later on, I'm on the other side and I'm interviewed on podcasts. When I tell my story, the host would say, wow, that's a bold move. Wow, that's amazing, Lucy. Like I was like, well, I didn't know. See, when you're in the story, you don't even see how amazing you are. And I think every listener has a story of your own. And I used to think I have no story to tell. And yet here I am. I can tell so many stories. So let's start with one. For one, my name is Lucy Liu, as you can see, right? It is I don't know if anyone don't know the Lucy Liu, but she is an actress. She is an artist. She is a movie director. She is just all the things amazing. And I grew up looking up to her. But at the same time, it was my biggest hindrance and self doubt and sabotage, whatever you call it. I grew up in LA, living really close to Hollywood. I actually signed up with a casting agency, and every time I went to an audition, the casting director would run out of their office and go be like, "Oh, Lucy Liu's on my list, like Lucy Liu's on my list," and they see me, very apparent disappointment, like, "Oh, you are not the Lucy Liu." So that was kind of how I grew up, like always disappointing people, like always being told I'm not the Lucy Liu. And even when I make restaurant reservations, like, in LA, we have some nice restaurants and people would be like, "What's your name?" "Well, Lucy Liu." "Well, are you the Lucy Liu?" I'm like, "No, sorry, I'm not the Lucy Liu." Like that's kind of the background of my childhood, like growing up thinking I'm just never gonna beat somebody. Like I'm nobody. I'm not the Lucy Liu, because let's face it, we will never have another Julia Roberts. We will never have another Angelina Jolie. That's just not possible. So that was my life for many, many years. And I was just waiting for my dying days, living life through autopilot. I mean, I went to a good school. I had perfect grades. I mean, life wasn't bad, but it wasn't exciting to not being able to be someone, until I really went through decades of personal development, until I became that version of myself. And really, to shift your mindset, it just takes a moment. It's a moment to moment shift. Like, who cares, right? Who cares about what other people think? I am Lucy Liu. That is who I am. And if I decide to be the confident version of me, then I've got to be more confident. And so I picked up that version of myself back up, the confident version of me. And that was a big decision. And Lucy Liu is actually my maiden name. So even after I got married, I kept that name. I had to remind myself, like, that's who I really am. Like, I am Lucy Liu. Like, who cares? Right. And I know if you're listening, your story might be different. It could be that your name is too common. Your name is too hard to pronounce, too hard to spell, or even just something about your life or yourself that you think have disappointed. Like, think back if you ever felt like you were a disappointment to someone else, right? So however you relate to that, I just want you to know by being here today that you get to decide who you be. And I've decided that I'm the confident version of me, and I forever will be.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that story. And it, lends so much to your heart and who you are. And I can absolutely imagine that feeling of, no, I'm not this person. But I've met other people who have celebrity names who have a similar story, actually. And I can't say that they all went on the journey you did. And it really takes resilience and choice, as you've mentioned. And I loved when you said, it's a moment by moment choice, because it truly is. That's where mindfulness comes into play, to go, I am worthy and deserving of a happy life. I choose this life. I choose to keep my name. I choose to keep my name, even if I've been offered a new name. And this is who I am, damn it.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of Gay Hendricks. Are you familiar with The Big Leap, his book?
No, I'm
okay,
not.
I highly recommend it. And in The Big Leap, so Gay Hendricks is the one who coined the term zone of genius. And in The Big Leap, he talks about the 4 hidden barriers that come up for us when we're not living our life fully, authentically, out loud, so be it. And one of them is that you feel like you're a burden to others. You do not go for it because you don't want to disappoint or burden others. Another hidden barrier is being fundamentally flawed, that I came out and there's just something wrong with me. So, I'm never enough or whatnot. And all 4 of them are really great, but those 2 stood out in you sharing your story, and it really holds a lot of people back. So, like, brava to you, darling, because it's not holding you back.
Thank you. And I love how you mentioned not enough. Like that, I think that was part of the story of my story as well. Like not being enough, not good enough, not as good as someone else. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I heard on this podcast how being enough is not about an amount. So enough is not an amount, it is a decision. And we
Mm.
also sometimes say we're not ready enough. So enough is also not a timeline. Enough is not a number. It's all a decision. And I think that is a mantra that I live by now, that enough is a decision and it is my decision.
Hmm. So when you think back to little Lucy, even before she knew who the other Lucy Liu was, little teeny tiny Lucy, tell us about her and how she shines through in you even now.
Ooh, good question. I think little Lucy was actually really confident.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the one that was like the leader in her class, like standing up, like hosting the class activities. And I really think that's part of me. And actually, you know what? I learned this just this year. Around New Year's time, I was talking to someone else and it came to my light that there was this term called ambiverts. I don't know if
Hmm.
you're familiar with that, but I always had this struggle between if I am an introvert or extrovert, because on one side, when people ask me if you're introvert or extrovert, I always say introvert because I really enjoy being by myself. I love being home alone. I need my downtime. I need my me time. I just love like doing any kind of activities at home, being by myself. But yet I love people. I love human beings. I love hugs. I love talking to people. So for many years, I would say like little Lucy thought she was weird. Little Lucy thought she was a weirdo. So, and this has been like 40 something years that Lucy thought she was a weirdo, right? Because she loves partying, she loves going to events and conferences. And yet, like the next day, she would crash and like she would love to be by herself. And only this year, I learned there's a third personality called the ambivert. And it was really eye opening for me to learn about it because ambivert, what it means is you have the personality traits of both extroverts and introverts. And I was like,
Mm.
aha, okay. See, I used to just tell myself that, Lucy, you are just unique. You are special, right? Being the positive version of Lucy Liu, that I always had to say good stuff about myself and try to let the angel win over the devil, right? We all have that inner voice. But I just really love now that there is actually this term called ambiverts. So for anyone who's listening, if you feel like you're a weirdo like me, that you love people and you love being by yourself, that could be it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's me too. Oh, I love little Lucy, and she does shine through, and she's still learning, and she's still presenting to the class with her podcast and her book and her workshops. Yes. Oh my goodness. So, have you ever done your Myers-Briggs to see your
Yes,
personality?
yes, yes. That's another thing. One year
Uh-huh.
I'm like, INFJ. And then the next year I'm like ENFJ. I'm like, what? So I'm like very borderline. That kind of shows that even in ourselves, there is different personality traits.
Yeah. I worked with a coach who was really stuck on disc and disc assessment. Like she's like, your disc assessment never changes. And that I feel like was bad advice. And it's not true because it totally changes. All these personality tests change based on who you are in the moment you take the test and what's been going on in your life and who you're surrounded by, and if you've been presenting over and over and over, and then you take that test and it says you're an E instead of an I, that makes total sense. If you've been hermiting for a while and building, then might show you're an I. It's just how you feel. So we have to meet ourselves where we're at when we do that stuff.
Yeah. And I think it depends if you're on like one side of the spectrum, if you're a total I person, then you're going to be probably staying in the I spectrum, right? If you're a total E
Usually.
person, you're totally on like where I am. I'm like kind of like in the middle. So I'm like swaying between the two. But what I want to get through, the point I want to get across is that you don't have to be extroverted to be confident. You don't have to be a certain way in order to be confident. It's what society put upon us that we are brainwashed that you have to be loud in order to be confident. And that is the biggest mystery I want to myth I would say I want to debunk is that you can be whoever you are and still be confident. I feel like the more quieter I got, the more I took really, took my identity, I became more confident. I could be the most quiet person in the room. I can walk in the room and not say a word, but I feel like I'm the most confident person in that room. And I will only speak up if I feel the need to. Right? So I think confidence is not about decibels. It's again that decision of whether or not you want to be a confident person, whether or not you want to be that leader in the room. It's again your decision.
So do you feel like that we have this power within us, and we don't have to release it all with our voice? We can carry that power, right?
I believe so. I believe we all have the power. We all have the wisdom. It is like a well of wisdom inside of you, even if it's covered right now in the bushes, or if you intentionally decide to let it be covered and not shine through at the moment. But I truly believe it's there for everyone. Every speaker that I've talked to probably consider, well, I shouldn't say everyone, but most speakers that I talk to consider themselves introverted and shy and still have imposter syndrome before walking onto stage. So it's not something that you're born with. It's who you want to be. Again, if you want to walk upon that stage and take that voice, that's your decision. Whether that's in a meeting at work, whether that's at home, whether that's with your friends, right? You get to decide how you want to live your life. But just knowing that you have power is a different story.
That's a good point. So my friend Andrea Quinn wrote a book called The Quintessentials: 9 Tools to Accomplish Anything. And it's for women primarily, though she has quintessentials for business and whatnot. And the second tool in her book is called I Am. And it focuses on, who you are at your soul, who you are at your core. And what you just said about that power, right? I feel like if we come in, and you can call it our soul or our energy or whatever it is, like you come in as I am power. Little Lucy was powerful. Little Elysia, powerful. And then the fourth tool, so in the second tool, you look at who, like your soul qualities, who you were born as. You never learned how to be these things, you just were. Like you might be really generous, you might be really loyal. Yes, you can intelligently build on those things and to take action on them, but who you are as a soul is just who you are as a soul. And then the confidence piece, that's not a soul trait, because a soul is perfect love. But to be confident and express that power through your confidence, that confidence in tool number 4, she calls it self-acceptance. This is who you are on the human level. And sometimes those are things you learn or you express. Like if I am creative, then on the human level, I might produce a podcast. I might write a book. I might express my creativity. We might act, be actors, right? And those kinds of things. So there's something really fun in how you talked about that, because I saw it coming together with here is power and here is confidence. And then boom, you walk out to the stage. You don't have to be extroverted or whatnot, because I get those side of the stage jitters too.
Yeah, I totally love I am. I am all about self affirmations. I totally listen to self affirmations all the time. And the confidence workshop, the women's empowerment workshop I hold every month is actually called I Am Remarkable. So
Tell
it
us about
is,
that.
yes, it is actually a movement that started within Google as an internal employee training for Google employees. And it's called the I Am Remarkable workshop. And you are free to check it out online. There are thousands of workshop facilitators like myself that we just donate our time to join this movement to bring this amazing tool to more women, to let you know that you are remarkable, because we all are.
That's incredible. So do you share it on your website? Is that how people will find it?
It is on my social, and you can find it on Eventbrite. There are tons of facilitators in the world. I mean, it's been done in all kinds of languages throughout the whole entire world in almost 200 countries now.
I
So
didn't know.
it's definitely something I believe in, and I donate my time to doing every month. But just knowing that whatever follows after I am becomes your reality. So if you think you're remarkable, you are. If you think you're amazing, you are. If you think you're incredible at whatever you're doing, you are. So be careful what you put after your I ams.
Our thoughts create our reality. They really do. And I love spirituality. I love energy work. I love woo-woo stuff. And I love science. I love being able to find data to back up these ideas that our thoughts really do create our reality. And there's a part of the brain, it's called the reticular activating system, RAS, part of the brain. And what actually happens is when you think about something or you focus on something, and of course you're attaching an emotion to it, or it's something you focus on a lot, our brain now starts to look for more of those opportunities because it thinks that's what is appealing to you or satisfying to you. It's kind of like when you buy a new car and maybe
Yes.
you haven't seen the same color of that car, and then all of a sudden it's like what you're noticing, right? And so you ask, did the dealership really just put out 100 of the same color I just bought? No, your mind was focusing on your car. You wanted your car, you picked your car, you now have gratitude for your car, and now that is what you are seeing more and more of. And it doesn't just work with physical things, it works with emotional things, it works with mindset things. And that's why they say, like, put your mind to it. Literally, you are putting your mind to it with that RAS part of your brain. So if you want to be a happier person and you want to be less judgmental, then you stop gossiping. You start focusing on the people in your life who bring you joy and light and love, the people who lift you up. And when you do this work that Lucy and I do and talk about, your life gets easier, and your circles change, right? You don't keep hanging out with some of the same people that feel hard to hang out with because your brain doesn't like it anymore. Have you noticed
Totally.
that, Lucy?
Yes, yes. And that's where the personality testing comes too. If you're hanging out with five complete different type of friends that year, your personality trait might differ a little bit. And also, you can use that to your advantage. You can use these repetitive things that you're seeing to your advantage to reaffirm your decisions, right? If I see like angel numbers, I'm going to tell myself, well, I'm on the right track. Or I'm just always purposely seeing angel numbers. I give myself the signs instead of waiting for the signs. Like when I tip, I always, after the 20 or 25%, I still round up to the next angel number. So
I love
I give myself the permission to be a better version of myself and to believe more blessings are coming. And I think that's the brilliance of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're calling it in, right? And that's like manifestation 101 or the secret, right? It's like what you focus on really does expand in your life. And then when you attach that joy or emotion to it, then it's delivered to you. And if we're talking about manifestation, it's also the opposite, right? If you're always complaining and you're always, stuck on something that's really hard and you feel that way all the time and you focus on feeling that way, then you wonder why more and more of that continues to happen. The universe is not judging. The universe is like, oh, you must really like hanging out with people who talk shit. So let's just keep bringing them into your life until you change the rules of your game, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I love The Secret. I love manifestations. I totally believe in woo woo. But for the people who doesn't, it still doesn't matter. You don't have to believe in angel numbers, but hey, round up that number so that you are telling the world that you deserve more because
Mhm.
you have more. And therefore, you are living an abundant life
You
because
are.
you have the ability to give more.
Yeah. So what angel numbers do you notice the most?
Well, I'm Chinese, so I love the numbers 8. So basically, we end everything. My entire credit card is, ends in 888. So, but I mean, I love 111, of course. Any angel number, I'm all about it. So,
And for people who aren't as familiar, like how would you describe an angel number? Is it just a repetitive set of numbers in twos or threes or fours?
I think it's what you believe to be lucky for you. And what numbers, I think whatever number it is, it doesn't have to be repetitive, but if you're excited about the repetition, I think that's what's more important, is to get you excited about what's coming. I always
Mhm.
believe more blessings are coming. So I'm excited about the days ahead. I'm excited about everything. I'm just, I mean, you can say Lucy's pretty bubbly because I believe in good things, and therefore I want to attract good things to my life. And even when shit happens, I still think about the good, and I think that's how we live a good life. Recent story, on New Year's Eve, I was at a concert and I slipped and fell. I was like crying in pain on the floor in pain for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I got up. I was like, Lucy, you have a decision to make, right? To enjoy the rest of the night and party like crazy, like it didn't happen, or you can just really be bummed off that this happened on New Year's Eve. So, of course, I chose to be that happy version of me. So, obviously I couldn't dance the concert away, but I did decide to just stand or sit at my seat and really just still went all out and just screamed and sang and had fun the whole night. And of course, the second morning I was wheelchaired to my car,
Oh,
and
thanks.
and yeah, I tore my ligaments. I didn't walk for 2 weeks. I stayed in bed. I mean, but through it all, I think you didn't see pain on me. Like I was still all smiles throughout the whole situation. So
Like
I
it's
think
You're
that's,
right.
yeah, that's another example, perfect example of the lemon story that we come back to, right? So that was my lemonade. That was my sour lemonade of this year. And I still made a lot of fruity juice with it. And yeah, it's a story to tell now, but
Did. And what a great choice in that moment. You could have just left and that's what your night looks like. And we never know what our night looks like or our day, when we choose to show up and choose to be present and choose to go all out. I mean, yeah, if the pain's not going to get that much better and you got another hour, party on. But if you need to take care of it, go to what concert was it? I love concerts.
I was a R&B concert.
So you wanted to be dancing. Well, thank you for sharing that. And, I'm a very happy person too. And I always look for, well, what can we learn from this? How can we grow from this? Obviously, take time to feel it fully. Don't bury it. Don't shove it down. That creates dis-ease in the body in whatever form it might, whether it's a headache or clenching your jaw or worse, right? And a lot of people have said to me, you're so positive or you're so optimistic. And then a couple years ago, there was that term that came out called toxic positivity, right? And then people who didn't really enjoy me as much started saying, oh, you're like just toxic positivity. I was like, what is this about? And so when I got further into it and I wanted to be self-aware enough to go, am I doing this at all? And what is it that people are not liking about the fact that I'm always looking on the bright side of something and I don't want to stay stuck in the negative? And I think there's truth to some people are just hiding, burying their pain, just grinning through it, even though they might be really miserable. And so I understand where the toxic positivity movement came from. So I do support it. But I have to say, when you've really spent time and energy and dedication to be a happier person, a healthier person, a better person, to live from kindness and compassion and to give back, the way you talked about, you did so many years of personal development. You know what? We earned it. We earned our outlook, and I will not apologize for how happy I am.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
I totally feel you, because sometimes I feel that way too. I'm like, am I the toxic positivity person? Like, am I making people's lives more miserable because I am so positive? Like, people are like, Lucy, your life is so good. Lucy, like, you're always so happy. Well, again, like what you said, I did the work. I purchased those, right, ebooks, courses, coaching. I invested in myself. Actually, 2 years ago, I was going through a really difficult time in my life. And I think it was probably one of the worst years of my life. And even so, when that happened, I invested in a coaching program where I knew the because of the time difference, I was living abroad at the moment. I wasn't even making to any of the live coaching calls. Like, I knew I would not be able to make any coaching calls. But because I believed in myself, I believed, my thought process was, Lucy, you're worthy of this program because you want it, right? Because you want to be that more confident. It's going to help your confidence. And so I did it. Even though I went on 0 coaching calls. I think when we invest in ourselves, you're not really investing in the coach. You're investing in your own belief system. You're investing knowing that you are worthy, that you get value out of this program, and that you are worth it. And I think that makes a world of difference. And I think we all started somewhere, right? Obviously, we started maybe downloading someone's freebie. We went on a free masterclass, and then we started thinking, should we buy this $7 ebook? Right? I remember those days. Or if I see an ad, ooh, it's $27 course. Should I buy it? No. And then eventually, once you find value, once you go through development of yourself, you'll know, hey, my book would have never came to reality if I didn't purchase that $2,000 course, right? Everything happens because I invested in myself. And I think that is something we want to really believe and continue to believe is I am an incessant learner. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm this way. That's why I have all this true positivity, not toxic. I'm really this way. I'm really this way. Like I said, yes, I was bubbly the whole night, but I did cry on the floor for 5 minutes. It's just, I knew that was temporary. Shit happens, but that it's temporary. Just keep on telling yourself you'll get through it, right? At 5 years down the road, you'll just look at it like a joke.
Yeah. My friend Cash talks about, just give it 4 minutes. She does this with her kid. And I brought this into my coaching program. We call it the 4-minute tantrum, right? You want to feel like shit. You want to cry. You want to scream. This sucks. You can't change it. Get it all out. Let it all out. Set a 4-minute timer. You do not need to do this for 3 days straight, right? Now, grief aside, horrific loss aside, that's different. But when and I think even to be fair, you deserved a lot more time to scream and cry considering what you went through too, Lucy. But really, like, we choose to sit in the pain and sit in the muck or not. Just my thought. And when you're talking about believing and investing in yourself, and you did, and you just took us through that story, and now you have that book. A lot of my clients and a lot of my audience are entrepreneurs and coaches. And when they ask me sales questions, right? How do I get more clients? How do I do this? How do I do this? Maybe they're hosting the masterclass or doing the ad on their book or one of those things. If you just heard Lucy's story, right? Your only mission in being a great service provider when it comes to sales is you're not selling you. Like, yes, they need to, of course, have some trust in you and see possibility in you and working with you and maybe like you a little bit, because I don't really usually buy from people that I really don't like. But Our job is to show them that it truly, if it is possible for them to get a result, then that's what we're showing them. We're showing them it is possible for you to change. It is possible for you to have transformation. My only job in sales is to show you that you are worthy and deserving of a happy life. And if you can believe in yourself enough and you can dedicate the minimum time and energy it takes to get the results of this program, then it will work for you. And that's all I can do. I will never talk you into liking me more or believing in me more or paying me. You are investing in you and we both benefit. And it's a win-win if you're willing to do the work.
I love ads. Like when I'm on YouTube, I mean, I could totally purchase the membership, but I love ads. I like, how many events have I been to because I saw these ads, right? Local ads, and how many courses I've purchased or programs because of an ad I've seen. So I think if you don't dislike ads, you're doing something wrong, right? Because if you're doing it right, if you're searching and watching the right things, your ads should be beneficial to your life. It should add value. It should move you forward. It should make your life better. So, yeah.
Well, there's a slippery slope because you're a lifelong learner. I'm a lifelong learner. We tend to attract those people, right? So it's like, okay, at what point, like sometimes I don't want to watch the ad because I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to love this thing, but I need to the last course I did. So that's where I'm at now. I'm not buying any more courses until I finish the last 2 that I bought. And I think that
we're at the exact right spot. I'm like, for 2025, let me finish all my programs and courses, right? But you're right. It's that incessant learner in us that really got us to where we are today, though.
100%. And I also think I have some courses I've bought that I didn't finish, and I can trust that too. You know, I'm very loyal and I'm a Virgo rising and I like to finish what I start and follow a protocol and do my homework and be a good client and all that stuff. But if something isn't resonating with me anymore, then I get to be honest with myself and go, okay, am I attracted to this new offer that just popped up because I'm chasing shiny object syndrome and I just want to feel better in the moment? Or is there really something here that is going to benefit me, that I'm going to grow from? And that's where our intuition comes into play, right? That we can listen, be mindful, and filter these decisions through our intuition to say yes or X out, right?
And it doesn't really matter. Either way, we learn. We still learn something about ourselves. We learn something about our coaching style. We learn something, or even if a program you don't like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to be that way, right? So there's always something to learn.
Absolutely. I can definitely agree that I've spent a lot of money on programs and I learned more about what I don't want to do as a coach.
Exactly.
Than what I got out of the program, which I think is just as powerful. Like I didn't ask for my money back.
You learn either way.
You do learn either way. That's the thing, right? If you're self-aware enough to go, okay, I am learning and I'm willing to learn. And for whatever reason, I said yes to this thing. The only thing though, I think we have to stay organized. Those of us who like to click and buy those little offers, don't waste your money. Don't let them go to your inbox graveyard, right? So what I do is I use Google. So I organize it and I put a label on it that says courses or classes or workshops, or I'll call it under, one specific, maybe this is sales, maybe this is mindset, maybe this is manifestation or intuition, right? So that way, when I create time to work on my learning, to work on my personal development, I just go find it in my things, or I'll bookmark it and then it's saved in my bookmarks. Because I think in the beginning I bought so much shit and then I was just like, I don't even remember that I bought something. And like, that's not great. Because then we just wind up on people's email lists forever. And we're like, did I actually buy from that person? But that's up to us too, Lucy, to like stand out as service providers, to not wind up in someone's inbox graveyard, to stay connected and stand out from the pack. So how do you do that?
Well, like you said, it's a decision, right? I hit the unsubscribe button unapologetically.
Good.
It's my decision. It's my inbox. So if it's of value to me, of course, I'm on the list. If not, I unsubscribe. And I feel like that's how I feel about my email, right? I'm just there to provide value. And
Mhm.
if you're receiving like 3 emails a day selling you something, of course I'm going to unsubscribe. And I have no problem doing so.
Good. That's great. And I think, just what you said about provide value in your emails. It's not just like buy this thing, buy this thing, buy this thing. And I've had to be careful about that too now that my podcast is out, because I want to email my list every week and tell them about the new episode. It's like, how often should I do that? Right. So I just do it 2 times. I do when the episode comes out, and then a few days later, did you catch it? Here's a clip. I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. I do not want multiple emails a day from someone. I don't care how cool you are. I don't care if you're Oprah. Just send me one. Right.
Totally.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I want to hear more about your book, Confident and Epic 21 Decisions to Living Your Best Life. So I hope everyone will read the book. The description of this episode will have her links. So definitely grab it on Amazon. And I'd love to hear, how did you get to 21 decisions? Did you know that's what it was when you started, or did the numbers keep adding up as you were writing it?
I love the number 21. And I think because that's how long it takes for a habit to form. And I think
Mm-hmm.
if you go through this, really, I left maybe 1 page of journaling space. So every chapter is a one decision I made that changed my life. So if you want to take that as a journaling prompt and use it for the next 21 days to make a different decision about your life, or something to change, or a mindset to shift, and if you do that for 21 days, I believe it'll change your life. So that is why I organized it that way. It's also on Audible and Kindle. So come check it out. It's a series of my real life, just like the one I talked to you about. My name and other stories would be similar to, I had straight A's and I dropped myself out of high school with straight A's, feeling I was behind. So yeah, stories like that really just moved my life to a different direction, that it wasn't very conventional, the path I took, but it's these bold moves. And I love helping women make faster decisions and bold moves to live their best life with no regrets.
Amazing. Okay, cool. Because we talked about angel numbers earlier, so I just wanted to know about the number. But what a great framework for a book, and so helpful and so intentional. 21 is also one of my favorite numbers. I want to tell you a quick story, and then I have one more question for you. So in fall of 2023, I was at a Pearl Jam concert, and my car was stolen. And
Oh,
so I went to another Pearl Jam concert a few days later, and I held up a sign for the singer, and I said, "My car was stolen. Please play the song Smile," as I was thinking it was about my car. And so the singer saw the sign, and he leaned down and gave me his guitar pick. And it has the number 21 on it, because he wears a shirt that says 21. So he has the guitar picks that match that, right? And then he did wind up playing my song 2 nights later, and he found me and gave me a harmonica, and he remembered that I made that request. And so now I'm waiting for a new car. I put a deposit down on a really nice car, and I'm waiting for it to arrive. And it's the month of September, and I get a phone call from Lexus saying, "Hey, your car has arrived." And it's the 18th. And I said, "Okay, great. Well, I'm out of town. I'm in Austin. I'll be home in a few days." And I was on a waiting list for this car for a while, and there were other people on the waiting list. And I said, "Please don't give the car away," because it actually took a few months to come. And they said, "Okay, we'll hold it for you, but when are you going to be back?" And I was like, "I'll be back in a couple days." So I flew back on the 21st to get my car. I was at gate 21 at the airport when I was flying home. I had a Southwest flight, and my seating position was 21, B21, because I didn't check in early.
wow.
So it was B21, gate 21. I flew home on the 21st. Eddie Vedder gave me his guitar pick that said 21. So my beautiful car that I love so much, her name is 21.
Aww.
That's what I call her. Isn't that
Yes.
crazy? So.
Yes. I love it.
Okay, love. Well, as we wrap up, I love to ask this question on my show, because I definitely attract people in my life who are abundant in so many ways, regardless of money. And I attract generous people, but I would love to know if you won the lottery, which seems like all the winner's always in California, so you'll probably win one day. If you win the lottery, and sometimes it's like $1 billion, two parts. What's the first thing you do when you find out you won? And second, now that you have all the money in the world, how do you spend your time?
I love this question. I think I would just do what I normally do. Take time to just go to dinner with my husband and daughter and tell them the news. One of my
Awesome.
favorite word in the English dictionary is equanimity, which means just really it's to keep composure. And that's how I live. I'm a very calm person. So I mean, if you see me winning $1 billion, I'm going to be the same way. I would then be able to add, philanthropy to my bio, and that's about it.
Amazing. So, what causes do you want to give back to?
Definitely, I would bring more education of personal development to younger kids. I think our school system do not teach our kids enough about personal development. I really wished our school system would teach them more about all the self-development topics such as productivity or confidence or resilience. I think it's so essential for our mental health of the next generation. So that's what I would be most focused on.
Yeah, one of my really good friends, he is writing an education book that he hopes to get into the school systems, really about empathy
Mm.
and compassion, and it'll reduce bullying and help kids be kinder to themselves and others. So, yeah, I can't wait for you to win. Maybe you'll fund his book project to get into the schools and
Absolutely.
you'll write your
Self-love,
own.
empathy, anything that contributes to more emotional intelligence to the future generation. I'm all about it.
Amazing. Well, I'm so grateful to have had this time with you today, Lucy. I hope everyone checks out the Lucy Liu show, which I will be on soon too. So we're doing a little pod swap crossover, and definitely her book, Confident and Epic 21 Decisions to Living Your Best Life. Could you please share any other way people can work with you too? Because I know you do workshop facilitation too.
Absolutely. Well, I'm most active on Instagram. Just come say hello. It's at MSLucyLiu. That's my name, Miss Lucy Liu. And I actually have the same handle on all social media. So come say hello.
Perfect. And I hope also people will be booking you for motivational speaking as well, because you have so much power, wisdom, kindness, and confidence to share with the world and to infuse into everyone enjoying as they watch and listen and learn from you. So thank you, darling.
Thank you so much for having me. And to all the beautiful souls listening, more blessings are coming your way.
They are. You're welcome. Talk to you soon.